In this video, we're going to be updating our app so that it looks more like our sample application. So this is what our application is going to look like as we progress. It's going to have a main page listing some books, and then an inner page containing the book details. So I'm just going to be walking you through the changes that have already been made, since they mostly involve adding some style, references, and HTML references along with our images. You'll be able to find both the updated code as well as the raw HTML e-commerce files within our lecture files. I'm going to start off by editing our HTML file, so I'll just open that up. And you can see in this file, I've added a reference to some fonts as well as Font Awesome. So we'll be using Font Awesome to add in a few different icons in certain places. And one of the first areas that we use it is to add in a spinner. So I've removed the text loading when our app is initially loaded, and instead we'll just display a spinner. And then I've edited our package.json down here to include a reference to Font Awesome. So by including this Font Awesome reference, I can navigate into my terminal and type npm install, and it's going to download this Font Awesome library into our node modules, which you can see right here. The next thing is that I've added some images into our assets folder. So inside of the images, I've added a bunch of our books that will show up, and then I've also added a folder for fonts for our glyph icons. Additionally, I've added this books folder, and this books folder is going to have a books details folder and a books list folder. So the books list folder currently contains an HTML file and a Typescript file. The Typescript file is empty, and the HTML file is going to hold the list of our products, and this is what will appear on the main page. And the books details page, we have an empty component, and the same thing, we have our HTML page, which will contain the HTML. And right now, both these files are hard-coded, and we'll change that as we progress. And then inside of our styles.css file, I've included some new styling, which is just going to override some bootstrap styling. So now the last thing that I want to do together is within our app component file, I'm just going to add the header navbar area. So basically what we'll do is we'll add in this navbar area, and then below that we're going to nest components to display our content. So what I'll do is I'll add a new file into my app folder, and we're going to call this one app.component.html, and then I'm going to paste in our code here, and this is just the header navbar information. Then I'll save that. And then all we need to do is edit our component TypeScript file and reference this component HTML. So we'll change this to be template URL. And I'll change our backticks to quotes. And then I'll just reference the file, which is going to be appcomponent.html. And if we're referencing our template, then we have to also reference our module ID as module.id. Now I'll save that file, and I'm going to remove this welcome folder since we're not using this anymore. So I'll just delete that. And last thing we need to do is open up our app module, and we need to remove this welcome component import since we're not going to be using this anymore. So we'll just get rid of that. And now let's go ahead and restart our server. Okay, so that's all that I wanted to do in this lecture was update our code to include some new HTML files. In the next section, we'll discuss in detail how to use Angular data binding.